And a very good Friday morning to you, racing fans. Welcome to Blinkers Off on TVG. I'm Rich Perloff in Los Angeles, filling in for Matt Carruthers. Matty, even as we speak, is in transit between Los Angeles, California, and the greater Toronto area because it is a huge weekend of racing up there at Woodbine, and Matt will be on hand there at Woodbine to help us out. Speaking of Woodbine, going to bring in our friend Jeff Brat from Woodbine to help us out with those 3 Grade 1 races coming up on Sunday. Jeff, this has got to be a race that you folks at Woodbine look forward to, a day of racing, I should say, that you folks look forward to all year long.
Really, it was the great Secretariat back in 1973, Rich, that kind of put the stamp on this race, making it the marquee event that it now is. And what I love is the fact that it's called an international event, because really this has an international flair to it. By far, Team Europe looks very strong against Team USA and Team Canada as we take a look at the lineup with Matt Carruthers. And I should let you know as well, Rich, that I'm not sure what the bigger deal is, Justin Bieber or Matt Carruthers here at Woodbine. It's a tie, I think, at this point, because Matt Carruthers has quite the following up here in Toronto. So we look forward to seeing him up here, and it's his first time at Woodbine, so we're excited to have him. So hopefully he's got his winter jackets and maybe an umbrella as well, because they are calling for some rain of pretty substantial nature, about 1.5 inches of rain from Saturday night to Sunday morning.
Well, I know that Matt and Justin have the same hairstylist. Beyond that, I think there's about a million follower difference in terms of their Twitter status, but other than that, they are often mentioned in the same breath. All right, let's get right to the big one, the Canadian International. Oh, we're going to give a little appetizer first. The Saturday feature race is the Fanfreluche. Jeff, you say that for me so I know that I'm on solid ground here.
Fanfreluche 6.
All right.
Yes.
We got 2-year-old fillies here going 6 furlongs on the Polytrack. Sure is a 5-2 favorite on the morning line. Where did you go in the Fanfreluche?
Very uninteresting pick. I'm going to go towards the favorite here, this being Sherwood. I just think this is a horse that gets class relief of a huge variety. Even though she's a maiden, you look first time out, she was second in behind Spring Venture. And Spring Venture, as we know, is a very talented individual, is now a multiple stakes winner, would go on to win the Natalma Stakes, and then came back last weekend to win the Mazarine. And Sherwood, watch the gray, almost white filly here, just absolutely flying late. If I did have a concern here with Sherwood, it's not necessarily the surface of the Polytrack, it's the distance of just 6 furlongs here. She's going to have to really hustle, so we need a track that can definitely have horses coming from off the pace. I'm not too concerned that she's a maiden taking on winners, because I think that she has the class to beat this bunch. What about you, Rich?
I'm going to go to the outside in this field. Bears Pearl is coming out of 3 consecutive runs against open claimers. We're actually looking at a race 2 back, Jeff. These were $40,000 claimers on September 12th. And Bears Pearl, with an ideal trip here, did have to steady briefly when straightening away for the stretch. I thought this was a very good effort, and Bears Pearl validated the quality of that second-place finish with a blowout win against $32,000 claimers last time out. Certainly, the horse on the inside, Sherwood, is finding a softer spot. Bears Pearl moving into stakes company. They kind of meet in the middle. I'll take the sharp horse coming out of the claiming ranks in Bears Pearl. That's our Saturday race. Now let's turn our attention to all the graded stakes activity coming up on Sunday, and we'll start with the Grade 1 Canadian International. And we've got a former winner in Joshua Tree, 5-1 on the morning line. Joshua Tree, Jeff, won this race in 2010, was second in 2011. We're taking a look at his race in 2010. This is actually not a Canadian race because they're running the wrong way for that. But now, Joe, the point that I want to make about Joshua Tree is that in 2011, he showed up at Woodbine after having run 3rd behind Dane Dream, who went on to win the Arc. And Joshua Tree was a good second behind Sarah Lynx, who absolutely freaked on that day on a yielding turf course. This year, Joshua Tree comes in off a very good run in the Prix Foy at Longchamp behind Orfèvre, who did everything but win this year's Arc. I think he's coming up to the race the right way. He's still going strong at age 5, and I think that price is very, very tempting.
I agree with you, Rich. I had a tough time deciding this race between that one and a 3-year-old named Imperial Monarch, who I think has got some pretty good stuff on that one's resume as well. 3-year-olds have done very well in this race in the past. Imperial Monarch most recently was a Group 1 winner in France, gets on to Lasix medication for Aidan O'Brien. Interesting that Aidan O'Brien actually trained Joshua Tree when winning the International, now goes for a different trainer. But when I saw the morning line come out, and if I'm going to get 5-1 on Joshua Tree, I'm going to go right there as well. Another one that kind of intrigues me a little bit, Rich, in this race is one by the name of Reliable Man. Of course, is a Group 1 winner. But the problem with Reliable Man, not living up to his name as of late so far this season, hasn't been able to pull off a victory so far this year. But if I get that 5-1 price on Joshua Tree, that's the one I'm going to land on.
And you've got a big money jockey in Olivier Pellier, who's coming off that upset win in the Arc last time out. All right, so that's a look at a couple of them, the Canadian International, and a very strong international appeal there, as you pointed out. Another Grade 1 race for the Distaff Turfers is the E.P. Taylor. That goes as race number 8 on the Saturday program. Let's take a look at that one right now. Again, very strong European form in this race. Jeff, where'd you end up?
For this event, you know, I really had a tough time as we get set to go a mile and a quarter. I kind of changed my mind a couple of times, and eventually I did land on number 9, this being Princess Highway. Princess Highway gets on to the Lasix medication as we take a look at the first 7 horse that will line up in the starting gate. Overall, we have a field of 13. Barefoot Lady comes off a victory here at Woodbine, and that came in the Canadian Stakes, winning by about a length and a half. Also in here, we do have Dream Piece, who is a very familiar name. But the one that I did land on is number 9, this being Princess Highway. This one's a daughter of Street Cry. And what's significant about her is the fact that in her last race in the Prix Vermeil at Longchamp, she finished 7th, lost by about 5 lengths, but she was only a couple of lengths in behind Solomia. And Solomia, of course, came back to win the Arc not all that long ago. So Princess Highway is the one that I'm going to land on. And I think more than anything as well, Rich, when you look at this one, you see a horse that can handle soft ground. And I think the turf course here on Sunday will have some give to it as well. So Princess Highway for me, for Conditioner Dermot Welt.
Well, I'm going to go to the 3 horse in here, Sayuma, and I'm also going to play the Solomia card. Sayuma has been keeping some very, very good company. She's coming off a win in a Group 1. That was the Sun Chariot Stakes at Newmarket last time out. If you go 4 lines back in her PP, she's only beaten 3/4 of a length by Solomia in a Group 2 event at St. Cloud. 2 starts back, she was 5th, but only a length and 3/4 behind Snow Fairy. And Snow Fairy, one of the top racehorses in training anywhere on the planet on her best day. So I think that Soyuma has got tons of class, shows up here for trainer Francois Dumont, and that will be my pick. 3-1 on the morning line, a little bit light, but I think we'll probably get all of it in what looks to be a very contentious race. All right, we're 2 Grade 1s into the Sunday program. Let's go back to race number 5 there. That's the Grade 1 Nearctic for the turf sprinters. Here's a look at your field for this one. Big field assembled. 6 furlongs on the grass, the condition here. Jeff, your selection?
I landed on Fire Lily. A couple of fillies in this race, and here is one of them. Fire Lily is a 3-year-old daughter of Danehill, just a beautifully bred horse for sure. Can handle a soft going. Is a 4-time winner overall, and I think we're going to get a relatively good price in that one. I think of the locally based horses, this is the best chance that we have to win this race. I think Big Band Sound is sitting on an absolute corker. The thing about Big Band Sound is last time out in the Woodbine Mile, ran into Wise Dan. We all know how good Wise Dan is, and I think more than anything, Rich, Big Band Sound didn't want anything to do with the 8-furlong distance, now gets to cut back to go 6 furlongs. But I'm going to go towards number 11, that being Fire Lily from the outside. I think the girls in this race, we have Night Carnation in this one. I think the girls look pretty good against the boys here in this spot. Fire Lily will race without Lasix, whereas Night Carnation gets onto Lasix. What about you?
I'm going to look for a price in this race. I'm going to go to the 6-horse Hammer's Terror, who was working lights out for Mike Stidham. And you know what, Jeff? This is a pick that has very much to do with the configuration of the grass course there at Woodbine. I wouldn't do this with most anybody, but the fact that Hammer's Terror ran so well in the Charlie Barley going a mile, I think at Woodbine, where the mile turf races run around that one big sweeping turn, I think this horse might be able to turn back effectively. Garrett Gomez is going to ride here for Mr. Stidham. Very effective closing jockey, and this horse, as I pointed out, working quite well. Bit of a reach. He's going to have to step up to handle Grade 1 company, but the price should be right.
You know we're going to get one big price on this program, Rich, and I often find when I'm handicapping races like this, I'm trying to figure out which horses will like the longest stretch in North America to work with, and this is certainly a bit of a horse for course.
All right, so those are our selections in the Nearctic. Now we go back to race number 4, a Grade 3 event. That's just kind of the table setter here, the Durham Cup. Interesting field for this one, and we'll have a look at the field. Conditions here, 3-year-olds and up. A Grade 3 event for $150,000, a mile and an eighth on the synthetic. Bit of a shorter field in here. Jeff, where'd you land?
I like a real up-and-comer in this division. This is one that I've always been very impressed with, and you spoke of Hammer's Terror. Well, Hammer's Terror, a couple of starts ago, was able to defeat a horse by the name of Delegation at Canterbury in what was a bit of a controversial race. There was a lengthy inquiry on that. Dan actually thought that Hammer's Terror should have come down, but Delegation has since come back here to Woodbine, was third in the Play the King and behind Big Band Sound, and last time out won by about 5 lengths. He has to step it up, but is more than capable of doing that. This is a 3-year-old taking on some older horses. This is a very good horse. And Patrick Husbands had some options in this race. He could have ridden James Street, who won the prep for this race. But Rich, you get John Velasquez now aboard James Street because I think Husbands is sticking towards number 5, that being Delegation.
Okay, I reached for a 12-to-1 morning line shot in the Nearctic. I'm coming with 8-to-1 here. The 4-horse Vertiformer, what has this horse ever done run on a synthetic racetrack? Ever done wrong? The answer is nothing. Perfect 2 for 2. Vertiformer ran well enough for 4th in the Arlington Handicap, 2 starts back on the turf, that they tried him in the Arlington Million. That was just not the right spot for him.
Right.
I'm looking at his race 3 back, a 3rd level allowance optional claimer that he won very gamely over the synthetic at Arlington. Look who ran behind him there. That's Stately Victor, a Grade 1 winner on synthetics. Now, he's a little bit shy of his best form these days, but I think that we've probably not seen the best of Vertiformer, and I think his best is going to come on a synthetic racetrack. Let's get him while the price is right in the Durham Cup.
Absolutely. To get a great rider aboard, Jesse Campbell. Of all the riders here at Woodbine, I think there's 2 of them, Jerry Olgan and Jesse Campbell. When it comes to long shots, they are long shot riders. They bring in some prices. So that's a solid pick. And it looks like this one might have been pointed towards this race for a little while, Rich.
All right, so that concludes at long last our graded stakes events. That's all coming up on Sunday at Woodbine. Remember, the Saturday feature is the Fran Feluche. Matt Carruthers will be on site there at Woodbine Saturday and Sunday. So, Jeff, I'm sure you're all bracing for that event. And we look forward to some tremendous international racing competition from Woodbine over the weekend.
Great to have TVG covering this fantastic weekend, and great to have Matt with us as well. In terms of the weather, it's going to be cool today and tomorrow. Rain coming in Saturday night. About 1.5 inches of rain we're expecting at this point. Hopefully that does change. And then the temperature is supposed to go way up on Sunday. It's supposed to be a very mild day for this time of the year. And unfortunately, it's supposed to be a little bit windy as well. So it's going to be an interesting day. But one thing I know about the international program, Rich, is expect the unexpected. We saw that last year with Sarah Lynx, who had that breakthrough performance at a big price.
That's right. Okay, Jeff, thanks very much for contributing some insight into the proceedings. We look forward to talking to you over the weekend.
Okay, Rich, always a pleasure. Have a great one.
Thank you very much. You too. That's Jeff Brat from Woodbine, and they're going to be hosting a lot of top horses in the next couple of days. Let's take a look at our picks recap from last week. This was Simon Bray and Matt Carruthers. Darley Alcibiades. Simon Bray, spring in the air. Well done. Phoenix, not so much. All right. Shadwell Turf Mile. Yeah, Wise Dan. He is a beast going a mile on the grass these days. Breeders' Futurity. Java's War, nice third at 12-1. First Lady, Summer Soiree, Hungry Island. Well, you needed them both in the superfecta. TCA, a Groupie Doll. Good luck with Groupie Doll going 7 furlongs in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mares. I mean, good luck beating Groupie Doll. What I mean to say in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. She looks formidable. Okay. And in the Hawthorne Gold Cup handicap, Jim Miller picked alternation. That was not his best day. Neither horse nor handicapper, but we will be speaking to Jim Miller a little bit later on today. We'll find out his thoughts about the upcoming Hawthorne Derby. All right, Matt Carruthers' play of the day coming from Keeneland, Lost Sword at 14-1. Probably did not outrun his odds. All right. I have got a play of the day for tomorrow's action. It also comes from Keeneland. I'm going to go to their 3rd race on the card tomorrow. It's a first-level allowance for 2-year-old horses. Now, they're going about 7 furlongs. Remember, At Keeneland, they actually run a proper 7-furlong race. They also run races at the about 7-furlong distance, which is a little bit longer than 7 furlongs, and you can tell because the track record for about 7 furlongs is 124-1. I'm going to the 5-horse here, Tulare Castle, for trainer Jimmy DeVito. We talked about Jim a lot last year. He's excellent with 2-year-olds. Tulare Castle, second in a very good debut, broke his maiden second time out, a son of Warpass. He's a homebred, and everybody who's finished in front of him or behind him in both of his career races came right back to score. He's coming out of 2 key races. I think there's still more upside. Should get a bit of a price. Time for us to step away for a quick break here on Blinkers Off. When we return, we'll talk a little buzz in the biz with Ray Pollock.
Hi, folks. I'm Fred Thompson. And like me, you probably heard a lot about reverse mortgages, but weren't quite sure how they worked or whether they'd be the right financial solution for you. Well, take my word for it and hundreds of thousands of other Americans who've used a government-insured reverse mortgage as a safe, effective financial tool. If you're over 62 years old and own your own home, give AAG a call to find out how a reverse mortgage can help you. You know, I'm extremely proud to be a part of AAG, a national reverse mortgage lender that's helping people overcome their financial worries and live the lives they've dreamed. Why don't you find out more by calling us today?
Call 1-800-552-2701 now to receive your free info pack, including DVD, brochure, and an extra booklet featuring real reverse mortgage borrowers. That's 1-800-552-2701.
Find out how much cash you may qualify for. Call AAG today.
$30,000 in prize money, 4 qualifying rounds, and 1 champion in the winner-takes-all $10,000 grand finale live in L.A. Be part of TVG's Play with the Pros Handicapping Challenge and win a trip to L.A. and play with the pros. Contest details at TVG.com. Continues Sunday with another chance to qualify. Play Keeneland action or Woodbine on Pattison Canadian Day and take on TVG's Play with the Pros Handicapping Challenge.
Welcome back. This is Blinkers Off on TVG. I'm Rich Perloff. It's time for a little buzz in the biz with Ray Pollock. He's the publisher of the Pollock Report, which you can always find on your computer at pollockreport.com. Check it out. Check out Ray's blog. Very, very interesting topic, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Ray, welcome to the program. We're going to talk a little bit about the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. Now, as race fans, we know that thoroughbred racehorses, when their racing careers are over, they need assistance. They need to be placed. They need to be cared for. We also know that there are dozens, if not hundreds, of organizations out there that devote time and energy to that very worthwhile cause. But the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance is sort of unifying those disparate groups. And the big news, the buzz in the biz, if you will, is that now the TAA is getting some very useful funding commitments.
Well, that's right. Good morning, Rich. The need has been there for many years. There's been a lot of different retirement organizations that have had to do fundraisers, and there's never enough money to take care of all of the needs as far as retired racehorses go. But for the first time, the industry as a group has put together a mandatory funding structure involving sales companies, involving the jockey club. This will give breeders an opportunity. This will give people who buy and sell horses at the different sales throughout the year an opportunity to contribute. It's the first time really where the industry as a group has addressed this situation and said, we need to do something, and we need to do more than just give it lip service. We need to put together a funding structure. And it's really a big step forward for this whole issue of thoroughbred aftercare. And a lot of credit has to go to Jack Wolf of Starlight Racing, who started this process in June of 2011, and here we are, October 2012. And it is off the ground finally with funding pledged for 2013. I estimate it's going to be at least $5 million for next year, which is a good start. It's tough getting everybody together in this business. I think one of the things that demonstrates that is they were really ready to announce this in late August, but it took 6 or 7 weeks just to get all the approvals from all the different groups involved to sign off on the announcement.
Now, Jeff, Ray, you rolled out a little mathematics in your blog piece here. It's a little bit daunting. $5 million only covers a certain number of horses over the period of a year. And of course, once these horses are in retirement, they're going to require care for the rest of their natural lives. What needs to happen next? How do we get to the tipping point where this is actually going to sustain the number of racehorses who are in retirement and are moving into retirement year by year?
Well, first of all, it would be nice to be able to say we're going to come up with a funding plan that's going to take care of every retired racehorse. If you do the math, that simply isn't possible. It's too daunting of a task. We're talking, hundreds of millions of dollars needed, really. But each horse costs about $2,000 per year to take care of. And a lot of these organizations aren't just using them as retirement facilities. They're actually training them and getting them out there in different uses. And there's a lot of off-the-track thoroughbreds now that are being used for many other disciplines in horse sports. So you're never going to be able to take care of every retired racehorse. It's just too costly. But it's important that they begin to address this as an industry, and even though you can't take care of every horse, you've got to try to take care of every horse you can. And I think that's really the message here. Yeah,
worthy organization, absolutely a worthy cause. Urge all viewers to check this out at pollockreport.com. Even a nice link there, you can actually see who has signed on and given those funding commitments to the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. All right, Ray, let's jump in and talk about horses that are still on the racetrack and doing their thing. We'll do a little handicapping. And we're going to start with the QE2 at Keeneland. Very good race year in and year out. It is our Saturday spotlight race.
I'd say this is a tough race to even find a throwout horse. There's maybe one or two in here, but this is one of those where you could just throw a blanket over probably 5 or 6 of them. And I ended up really going with Samatar based on what she has done before she came to the United States. She had really I think the best set of competition that she, of this group. In her previous races in Europe, she was in Group 1 company, faced some very good fillies over there, and I really think that she is rounding into her best form for Chad Brown.
Just saw Samatar there getting the better of Somali Lemonade and Tannery in the Grade 1 Garden City. I'm going to go to the outside here with Day at the Spa. I don't see a lot of speed in this field, and I think that Day at the Spa makes her own racing luck. She was very good in the risk-averse. Obviously, the QE2, a Grade 1 event, going to be a tougher spot, but I just feel that pace-wise, Day at the Spa is going to be able to control things. Javier Castellano, excellent on the front end with a horse running free, so Day at the Spa will be my selection. Needs to clear that field and cross over, but I think she can get the job done.
Sounds like a Maddie lone F there.
Well, I'm sitting in a seat. I've got to pay homage to the pace analysis there. All right,
that's the way it lays out for sure. She's the lone speed.
All right, that's the QE2 Cup at 1 1/8 miles for the 3-year-old fillies. Let's turn our attention to Belmont Park and talk a little bit about the Athenia, a Grade 3 event for the Distaff Turf Specialists, fillies and mares 3 and up, and a very, very heavy favorite on the outside. But the Arena Elvira is main track only, so if they come off the turf, which is unlikely, then that one would be favored. DL Bata, our Irish bred, is 7-5 on the line. Ray, where'd you end up?
Yeah, Deal Bot is another one of these Chad Brown, Martin Schwartz turf fillies, and Martin Schwartz is really specialized in these. I'm going to try to beat her here with a filly named Laughing, who has done well on the front end, but is better just off the pace, I think, for Alan Goldberg and Richard Santulli, the owner. And I think Laughing is in a position to run a good race from just off the pace here.
I'm going to go for another price horse in here. I'm going to go to the 8-horse Martita Sangrita, another one that definitely needs to improve to handle graded stakes company. We're going to take a look at her run in the omnibus. She was a pretty good second in there. I'm not sure that 1 3/8 is really what she wants. Trainer Lee Delacour has really gotten Martita Sangrita into solid form. All of her recent grass races have been very good. She certainly doesn't need to take her racetrack with her. She's been good at Delaware, Penn National on a yielding grass course, most recently at Monmouth. I think the turnback's the key, and with tactical speed, she's just going to get first run on some of the deeper closers in the Athenia. 12 to 1 on the morning line there. Also on the card at Belmont Park is the Knickerbocker Stakes. Going to take a look at the field for this one, a Grade 3 event. Mile and an eighth on the turf in this one. Boisterous is the 2 to 1 favorite.
Yeah, I'm going against the defending champion here. Boisterous has got a very winning record and won this race last year. Likes to win races, but I've actually found a horse in here that is a little bit of a price that I like. He's in really top form right now, Canadian-based horse. A lot of these have been running against each other, it seems like. So I'm going with Stormy Lord here for trainer Ian Black and Kinghaven Farm. I really, this horse seems to thrive on racing. And is rounding into his best form. Obviously likes Parks. It's won the PTHA President's Cup there the last 2 years, but I don't think really needs to be on the lead like he's done before, and should get a really good trip, I think, from his position.
You know, Stormy Lord and I, we've never gotten along too well. I have to say, this is one of those horses that when I zig, he zags. He's a 9-time winner. I ought to get on board more often. And by the way, I would never discount that Parks form. When you put up $250,000, even though the race doesn't carry graded stake status, those are going to be very solid efforts. This is a race on the weekend, Ray, where I thought the favorite was the right horse. I'm going to go to Boisterous here. Didn't care for the conditions in the Grade 1 Arlington Million. Much better spot here, and he's proven over time that he really, really enjoys the turf racing at Belmont Park. As you pointed out, he's last year's winner. He did that over a yielding grass course. He's 2 to 1 on the morning line. I think we get that, maybe even a little bit more as people go price shopping, but I will land on the favorite there. Shug McGahee, to all of our surprise, has turned into this monstrous turf stakes trainer in these last couple of years.
Yeah, that's right. Boisterous is going to be tough. I just kind of looked at this year's Arlington Million field and said it's really, it was Grade 1 in name. I'm not sure it was Grade 1 quality all the way through. So I'm gonna get off the Arlington Million form for that reason.
All right, that's a look at the Knickerbocker, and we have come to the end of our handicapping component. Ray Pollock, always good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us here on Blinkers Off. We will speak to you shortly, and I'll remind the viewers that Blinkers Off will have Matt Carruthers back in the seat next week. Matt going to be out at Woodbine for their big weekend of racing. Remember, 3 Grade 1s on the program Sunday at Woodbine, the Canadian International, the E.P. Taylor, the Nearctic for the turf sprinters. All those races are going to have serious implications for the Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships, which are coming up right out here in Southern California at Santa Anita. October 19th, Maddie back in the hot seat on Blinkers Off.